Ladies and gentlemen, the time is here. We are on the cusp of the 13th episode of Attack on Titan coming out. And so, with 12 episodes in my head, I decided that I am going to predict how the season is going to end. Now, I'm not the biggest stan of the show. I watch it casually on the weekends on the stream and chitter chatter about it with the boys here and there. Other than that, I don't really read into it a lot like I do some other shows. But this is what I think is going to happen. I have two theories, as we'll get into it. Next slide, please. And we're going to take a short view back to the past first. And we have a few screenshots from the most recent episodes. Up at the very top, we have Historia. Then we got the meeting with Pixis, where they decide that they're going to actually go after Eren. We got Gabby getting eaten by a horse. This was probably my favorite moment in the last few streams. Anti-Gabby gang. Then we got Eren talking to Reiner from very early in the season. Then we got the cart titan chick ready to rescue, which happened at the end of episode 12. And then also the end of episode 12, we have Eren and his supporters meeting with him. And this is where we are up to date. Few little touching points that I will come back to a few times. There was also the bombing that killed the war chief dude. That is also going to be important in my theories. And I will have to say, if you've seen anything past episode 12, when you're watching this on YouTube, this is all made with knowledge without episode 13 and on. So if you want to watch this after you watch episode 12 and before 13, I highly recommend it. See what I think. See if you think I'm as crazy as I think I am. Next slide. So like I was saying, I have two theories. A safe theory, which I'm more optimistic on that this is what's going to happen. And then my long shot theory, which is what I really want to happen, but I know it's extremely unlikely that it is going to happen. Next slide, please. A little warning, like I gave before. I am a filthy casual at the show, and I do remember a lot of things wrong. I am kind of a boomer, maybe early onset Alzheimer's. But, and this is all my opinion, and you will 100% disagree with me. And I 100% disagree with myself, because there's a lot of things that I theorize will happen that I do not like. I don't like, but this is where I think it is going. Unfortunately, sometimes the world just works in a sad way that way. But, hold your horses. If any of these come true, I take 100% full credit that the writers took my ideas from my brain and made it into the show. I know that's not how making a show works, but I called it. You heard it here first. To preface my safe theory, I think the outside world is a complete bait. The whole beginning family, bait. Play, bait. Everyone hating the Paradis, bait. Absolute bait. No if, buts, whens, straight bait. No questions asked. And I don't think there will be a war. They go the whole time with Marley, this war country, talking about war. We need to go back to war, 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 war. There ain't gonna be a war. I'm sorry. Hate to break it to you, buddy. It ain't gonna happen. And to my boy Isaac out there, Eggs Benedict in the chat, I am sorry, but on a realistic basis, after thinking, I'm fully convinced that there will be no extended final episode, no movie. Unfortunately, I know there's only a handful of episodes left, and that each episode is only like 20 some odd minutes. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Historia is completely irrelevant, which I'm extremely sad about, because I thought she was an interesting character and was going to have an interesting way. But I think we'll get into it later in the theory. But I think her being pregnant is either extremely important or extremely unimportant and just a way to write her out. So, without further ado, let's get into the safe theory. The main struggle. Think the popular movie Captain America Civil War. I think Eren and his followers versus Paradis in the government, with versus Marley in small text on the right there. I don't think Marley will play a big role. We'll get into that more in a little bit, but I think the main struggle, the meat of the ending, is going to be Eren and his followers versus Paradis government and the island. I think Falco and Gabby are going to continue to be the main antagonists for Marley. As much as we love Falco, and as much as we're going to end up talking about him, as you see later in the slide, I think they will be the main antagonists for the majority, especially Gabby. I do think Falco ends up turning good, unfortunately, possibly followed by Gabby. But I think there is a small chance she will turn good, which I do not like, as I just want her out of here. Reiner will stay in his weird kind of mix of good and bad. He was bad. He is the warrior titan. But I think he's going to do some good. As we saw, he didn't kill Eren straight off the bat and immediately start murking him. And he lost his will to live, as he demonstrated in that episode. I think he will end up being a big character. Now, Paradis Island OP 2 Electric Boogaloo. We already know they are going back to Paradis. You see it at the end of episode 12 with the card titan reading a newspaper, all sus, in the city. Now, Marley comes to rescue Gabby and Falco. We already know that. I think, turns out they don't really need saving. A little bit of my first reach. I believe Falco turns good in his mind, but follows along. Kind of like Reiner was with his split personality. I see a lot of similarities in the character arcs between Falco and Reiner in the show. And I think that'll continue going forward with what's going to happen with both the characters. I think Reiner is going to turn on the other warrior titans after Falco asks him about if people were nice to him too. As we demonstrated, Falco and Gabby both think everyone on Paradis is extremely evil and out to get them. Hence the episode of them at the farm. You see that's a little bit different. Falco's a little more open-minded in taking in the outside world for what it is. And Gabby is definitely more narrow-minded and doesn't see it for what it is. So I think Falco's gonna have a lot more questions for Reiner. And I think some of those questions may involve Sasha and the fact that Gabby killed Sasha. And I think we'll see some internal turmoil in Reiner that'll make him start turning on the other warriors. Falco and Reiner will become mostly good, asterisk. I think they'll become good adjacent. We'll get into what good adjacent means in a second here. Gabby will become the de facto leader of the Marley crew out of pure spite for Falco. But she will have few doubts in her faith from her time at the farm and how good they were to her. Because they're just great people. Everyone likes them, but for some reason, Gabby just hates them, which really sucks. I think she's really annoying. The Titans from Marley will either become dead or incapacitated. I don't think they will play a major role besides the extraction mission that we will go over further. And I think it is possible for Gabby to gain a Titan power in this whole thing. Last ditch effort. We're already going to talk about more pure Titans coming in this PowerPoint. And I think Gabby has a chance to turn into a pure Titan and eat one of the Titans to gain their powers. Next slide. Paradis Island OP 2 Electric Boogaloo continued. I think Marley still wants Zeke alive. Kinda. We all know Zeke is captured in the forest with Levi, and that was a big turning point at the end of episode 12, as they need to find Zeke before Eren does. But, as we see with the Car Titan there, and they're very still salty about Zeke, even though they think he is fully pledged his allegiance, I think they're still doubting. Just like the government of Paradis is doubting that he is actually on their side. And, like we saw from the first episode of the season, I think Marley's going to drop mega titans from the airship to try to attempt to overwhelm and extract Zeke. Now you might be thinking, mega titans to overwhelm and extract Zeke? Just like from the first episode, how can that happen? It doesn't make sense. Where does it all come from? Wait. There was a scene in the trailer that always stumped me. My friend, Eggs Benedict in the chat, always said that was from the new season, and I was confused. I was like, that doesn't make right. It doesn't seem right. There haven't really been any pure titans in this season. Why would all of a sudden a ton of them show up in the forest? Maybe it was a flashback, maybe it was this and that. I think, like I said earlier, they're going to drop down from the sky, finna rain down like D-Day on them, and that's going to be how they're going to overwhelm Levi, because Levi is a force to be reckoned with. They know this. They know the Ackermans are nothing to take lightly. So I think they're going to try to overwhelm him. On this safe theory, asterisk for only safe theory, this is where they start branching apart more. Levi and Zeke become best buds, kinda, because we all know Levi is cold and heartless. He never has a best bud, because Zeke will show his loyalty during the Titan attack. That will prove that Zeke is not in fact a bad guy, as they were thinking earlier. Now, moving on. Team Eren. We all know Eren is the team of the public, the team of the people. He knows what the people want to hear, and he knows how to use it to his advantage. He's always been for the people. And I think that will continue with him gaining the public support, even with the government still being a doubter. You know what they say about doubters? Doubters quake. That's why we're pure believer gang here. Unfortunately, but we'll get into that later. Hence the Civil War type plotline. We are starting to gain a rift. You can already see it happening with them having meetings about Eren and what they want to do with him, because he's becoming more of a rogue factor. He's becoming unaccountable, unaccounted for. He can do whatever he wants without justice, without anyone to keep him in line. Very similar to the Civil War plotline. Acts on his own accord, does not think of the outside consequences. But Mikasa has a crisis trying to pick a side, but Armin is leaning Eren's side. We know that they're all confused. They don't know where to go. They're lost in the dark. Their best friend or brother, Eren, who they've always supported through the whole entire show, has been the one constant, I feel, is they are always on his side. But this time, Armin is leaning Eren's side, while Mikasa is still in the middle. She's always been the more sensible. She thinks things through more, isn't as emotional, more analytical. And she's still tossed up because she knows Eren trying to do the rumbling isn't really the best thing. But we'll get into that. I think Team Eren uses the cover of the massive Titan attack on Zeke and Levi to get to them. Big reveal? Because Zeke has convinced Levi he's a good guy, Levi actually sides with Eren against the government. I think there will be a cheeky quote to Eren's trust scene with the OG Levi squad when they're zooming through the trees and they go, "Do you trust me? Don't look back, just keep going forward." Something along those lines. I think it would be a great callback, a great time to put that in when Levi joins Eren and Eren's just like, "Trust me. I know what I'm doing." Does Eren know what he's doing? We'll get there. Big reveal 2. Falco and Reiner joined them. They pledged their allegiance to Team Eren. Reiner tossed up about the decision. I think it is possible that Falco could get Reiner's armored Titan. I would personally love that. I think Falco is a little young to be getting a Titan because I feel sad that it ends his life so early. But I don't think Reiner is in a good mental state for the events that are going to happen and the tough decisions that are going to be in the future. I do think they will be Eren adjacent, as I was talking earlier. They will be on Team Eren, but they will also have other motives that will make their decisions a little harder. Next slide. The team government. The government has established them as a separate team. They are not fully with Eren anymore. They never really have been. They've been using Eren as a tool, and it's finally gone to Eren, and he knows what to do now. So, as it is Civil War, and I think they're going to go against him, Team Government does what the government does best. They argue. We already saw that starting to happen. They didn't know what to do. Pixis came in, kind of made the executive decision for them. But I don't think they'll get anything done. I think literally they will be incompetent and do not much. They'll just show up to Eren and be like, "Yo!" and just get and incompetence leads to more of the military police, more of the scouts shifting sides to Eren. They see the government kind of just get steamrolled by one kid who's got all the power. And so they shift from being government, Eren adjacent, to just straight up Eren team. And I think we'll see that in episode 14, maybe episode 13, an episode we'll watch right after this. Now, they still are going to try to find a way to stop the rumbling. I don't think, I can't remember her name, but the new scout leader, I don't think she wants the rumbling. I don't think Pixis wants the rumbling. I think they will try to do everything they can to stop Eren from doing the rumbling. As I said, they end up being Eren adjacent, but still plot to overthrow him. I think Eren will get overthrown, or at least attempt to get overthrown. In my safe theory, the peak, the creme de la creme, the government fails to overthrow Eren because Historia is pregnant. I hate that they did that. I thought she was a super cool character, and we'll get into more about possibilities because they said, oh, she's worried about it, this, that. Yeah, I think they will fail to overthrow Eren because they don't have anyone to take Eren's powers that can lead, which unfortunately is a result of Historia being pregnant. She also feels for Eren after almost eating him last time, as we saw at the end of season 3? Maybe the end of season 2? Season 2 or 3, when Eren is chained up and Historia almost gets convinced to eat him. I think she'll still get flashbacks to that and disagree, although she said she was ready to do it. Gabby and crew end up taking on Eren and crew. Possible Gabby v Falco Titan fight. That would be a juicer of a fight, and I would be here for it. I definitely want that to happen. I think that is more of a reach, which is why I have it in parentheses or quotes. Yeah, parentheses currently, and that is more along the lines of what is in my Longshot theory. But I think it would be really interesting. It is possible if they both get Titans. Eren will fight Marley and Gabby. Eren will fight Marley and Gabby. They almost get him, but Falco and Reiner end up stopping her. I think Falco and Reiner will end up going into the shadows, away from Gabby and them. They won't really know what happened to them. Maybe think they're dead, maybe think they ran. I don't know. I do think this is when it will go full surprise for them that they are actually on Eren's side. And I think it'll throw Gabby for a loop, and I am here for it. I am here for it. Now, the government will end up joining Eren as the last result because they don't have anything to do. They can't overthrow him. They can't overpower him. They end up smiling and waving and just moving on with the plan. Don't like that part either. Think there should be more struggle. Also, Mikasa goes full Ackerman on them. I think she's going to somehow start controlling the Ackerman focus, and we're going to get some gnarly stuff from her. I am here for that as well. And I think it's going to end similar to that. The ending, Eren will do the rumbling. The rumbling is going to happen. This is why there will be no war. I realized, what is the main tipping point? As my English professor would love to say, the tipping point, which is the rumbling. Will it happen? Will it not happen? A war? Completely irrelevant. It's all about the rumbling. And the rumbling will happen. Eren will see it happen with Mikasa and Armin. Think kind of the end of Star Wars Rogue One. Explosion in the distance. Them both chillin', vibing. Armin and Mikasa are visibly in horror at the destruction that they are witnessing at their hands of the world. Eren breathes a sigh of relief in his psychotic way that he's been doing the rest of the season. Someone from the government crew, possibly Mikasa or Armin, will turn to Eren's crew and Eren and ask him if it was all worth it. And after that, roll credits. I think that would be if they're going down this path, I think that would be a great way to end the season, with leaving a little bit of a cliffhanger of how Eren really feels seeing the world burn. So my man the Joker likes to say, some people just like to watch the world burn and send a message. And I think Eren currently is one of those people. As much as he says he's here for the good of humanity, I think he's still got some spite from his mom, and I think this is how it could end. Now, fully transparent, I don't like this. This would be a bad way to end the show. I could just not be thinking of all the aspects and facets that go into making the show, which is counted of me being a filthy casual. But I have constructed a theory that I think is possible, way less likely than this. I think this theory is way more likely to happen, or parts of it are more likely to happen. But we go into my Longshot optimistic theory. Still civil war between Eren and the government. I really like that aspect that they're going into the civil war bit. I was kind of worried that it would be too big of a scale with a real war, and I'm glad they're keeping it more at home with Eren and the government struggle. As they say, make sure you're safe at home before you go to war. And I'll tell you what, they are not safe at home right now. There's way too much predicaments. I think a little sprinkle of Marley, a little more sprinkled Marley in this theory as well. Again, fortunately, not the most confident this is going to happen. I think it will be basically the same as the safe theory, except Levi will not be on Eren's side after a Titan attack. I think that is when we start seeing some branching off from my safe theory. Marley will still come to save Falco and Gabby. Obviously, we see that at the end of episode 12. Falco still will turn good along with Reiner. I am really set on this. I think this is going to happen. I thought it was going to happen earlier in the season, and then you see Reiner at the end of season 12 be kind of hardcore Marley, and I was really surprised about that. I thought he was really going to keep his allegiance to not really knowing what was up. You saw his lost his will to live. I thought that was going to be a more character arc, but I think because Falco's in danger is why he really went full Marley. I think once he realizes Falco's okay, sees that Falco was okay the whole time, that everyone was nice to him, he'll start turning the gears in his head. I think Falco will turn on Gabby. Falco will become converted in his head. He'll disagree with what Gabby says more and more, as we're already seeing, and eventually we'll have to take steps to stop her from making an irrational decision on people that are cool. I fully agree with this decision if that happens. And I think, again, Gabby will become the de facto leader of Marley and Me crew. I am kind of proud of the Marley and Me crew title. Gonna take credit for that one, But yeah, I think she will become the de facto leader. I think it is kind of like a similar character arc to the original season. Now, Reiner and Falco. Reiner already showed he lost the will to live when he talked to Eren. Kind of went over that already a little bit. He only came back into the fold to save Falco, like I was saying. He only started to be Marley because Falco was in danger. I don't think he would have before that. Now, Reiner will have Falco consume him in this theory. This theory has Falco consuming him, so Falco becomes the Armored Titan. Falco will be Eren adjacent. Anti-rumbling, because he still has some feelings for Marley and his family and people he's met there and the rest of the world. He's got more of a wider outlook on the world. He's had more experiences with the outside world than Eren has. Although we don't know what happens in the years between season 3 and 4, where Eren could have more experience in the outside world than I know. He will be anti-rumbling, obviously, but with some pro-government motives, as he does, as like what we see with Reiner, definitely has a thing for more structured society. Now, Eren. Eren and his crew will continue to recruit more government and more military people when they go to talk with him. Like I said, government does what government does best, bicker and get nothing done. That will force people to realize, hey, Eren's the one really doing stuff here, the public supports him, we should really move him. The main leaders of the government, including Armin and Mikasa, will continue to be sus of him. This is where I think the cracks will start showing. Eren has already showed that he is kind of sus. He is not sane in the membrane anymore. Sasha died and he laughed. Not cool, dude. We all shed tears at that moment. You can't just laugh at it. And I think over the next few episodes, I know we only have a few left, but I think slowly each episode we'll see Eren's a little more psychopathic and crazy than we thought previously. Eventually, even Eren's followers will become sus of him. They'll see him make irrational actions, irrational decisions that they realize aren't good. And they will be sus of him. In conclusion, Eren sus. He's the imposter. This theory has Eren kind of turning into the antagonist, leaving the people watching not on a side. Brilliant decision. Right at the end of the season, make you go, wait, what? I was rooting for Eren the whole time. I was supposed to maybe be rooting for the government the whole time, but now I don't know who I'm rooting for. Gives the viewers options. The government. They will be complacent in following Eren's plans until everyone's sus of him. Because even Eren's followers are now sus of him, they will have a successful coup overthrowing Eren. They will start planning ways to get Eren eaten by Historia so that she can gain the powers of the Titans. They will start planning on ways for Historia to get eaten. Historia being pregnant obviously throws a wrench in this plan. I don't think the time frame of her giving birth really fits to the end of the show. Moving a little too fast. And I think the person who got her pregnant is shadowy on purpose, and maybe could have a purpose being an outside factor of someone we didn't see coming in. and also be why she... Well, we'll get into that. The climax. Eren goes full wacko trying to convince them of the rumbling, and everyone is not here for it. He gets outplayed by trusting Armin and Mikasa, who turn on him. I am here for the double cross. Mikasa harnesses her inner Ackerman to slice up Eren, slice and dice Fruit Ninja hours. Historia then eats Eren. This is kind of a reach because of the kid, I am aware, but I think this would be amazing. Historia gaining the powers of the Titans. She's got the royal blood. She's got what's going for her. I'm here for it. Falco will murk Gabby as a Titan. The crowd will go crazy. Dude, it's probably just a dream, but some dreams do come true. And I really hope that happens. Historia ends up cleaning up the plate and using the Titans that Marley brings with her power of the Command Titan or whatever to rally them together to murk Marley. She also will use the power of the Commanding Titan to make sure the rumbling is not as destructive if they decide to do the rumbling. A little change on the theory that just popped into my head right there. But moving on, Historia ends up cleaning up the rest of this. Ends up cleaning up after the rest of the scouts and finishes the battle. Historia, along with Mikasa, start to restore the reputation of Paradis. I'm starting to think that they may use some of the rumbling in a controlled way. People are scared of the rumbling as they see it as a end-all be-all. No coming back. No take-backs. And maybe with her power of the Commanding Titan, she can guide the rumbling. Maybe just murk Marley. I would be fine with me. In the meantime, anyone who's scared of Paradis, they just saw what happened when Marley, the most military nation, went up against them with backing from the other nations, and they got smoked. So nobody wants to smoke from Paradis right now. This is a little bit of a reach as well. I think the power of the Old King will keep Historia from the rumbling, possibly, but she overpowers it to start opening up the borders, unlike the Old King wanted. I do think now she may use the power of the planning, the one that makes you control the other Titans, to maybe guide the rumbling a bit. I'm aware the ending of that theory is a little shaky. I think you guessed the gist though, with Eren getting eaten, the double cross with Mikasa and Armin, the government not really doing anything. Marley is a little gone in that theory, but I love Gabby getting murked by Titan Falco. Anyway, that was kind of a long one. I spent a while making that yesterday, and I thought it was pretty fun to make. I think I shot enough ideas in the air, I should be able to get at least one right. I'm really hoping. Anyway, if you enjoyed my theories, make sure to comment any things you have that you disagree with, you think will happen, where I'm wrong, where I'm right, in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe and follow the Twitch stream if you are not already. We're going to have some big things coming up in the future. And I hope you enjoyed my presentation. Have a good day.